Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another live session of GETI Talks. My name is Shilpi, and I'm the Relationship Manager with the Global Education and Training Institute. Well, I just had a conversation with my niece the other day, and I asked her, "Aren't you missing your school? Aren't you missing your friends? The way you told me in March and April that you actually wanted to see your friends and your teachers." Well, this time her answer was totally different, contrary to what she had told me earlier. She said, "Oh no, I'm actually well off staying at home. I can now see my friends on a video call, I can chat with them, so I don't think I need to take the pain of going to school. And teachers, of course, I'm seeing them online." So, the very same child who had told me in March and April that she was desperate to go to school and because she wanted to meet her friends is now adjusted to the new normal, which is the online teaching, remote teaching. So, today I have a special guest with me, Ms. Nasreen Fatima, who is the principal of New Rosary High School in Hyderabad in Telangana, and she is going to speak about the benefits of remote and blended learning. Ms. Fatima is also has a very multifaceted personality. She loves to interact with people from different fields. She has been interacting with a youngster who is very much into exploring space, and he's an engineer. And she has also been into some debates and discussion on a global platform. So, welcome, Ms. Nasreen Fatima, and thank you for joining in the disruptive education movement started by Dr. Sunita Gandhi. I now give the platform to you.
Thank you, Shilpi. Thank you so much for inviting me to the Getty. I feel honored and cherish my association with Getty and getting this, during this pandemic time, a very important topic. And I would like to love to discuss it with you all why during this time how we could get our children engaged and connected with the education. So I cherish and thanks Dr. Sunita Gandhi for this the second time I'm with Getty, and Getty is continuously the flow of discussion with all the stakeholders that Getty is taking, continuing is really praiseworthy, and Dr. Sunita Gandhi's vision behind it is great, and it matches most of the things it does, are matching with our vision and mission. So thank you so much, Shilpi. Will you please help me in getting connected with the PowerPoint so that we can start with. Uh, as told earlier, I would be discussing upon the what are the key components of successful remote and blended teaching methodologies. Shilpi, I think the screen is not seen. It is not connected. Yeah. So next slide, please. You please go to slide 3. Yeah. So this is how now the remote teaching is shown in this fashion, where a child is not live in the classroom, but this could be either synchronous or asynchronous. Now, next one is next should be about what exactly is blended teaching. I would like to talk about. Blended learning atmosphere that's created is understand and acknowledge that all the students learn in the same ways. What exactly was happening was we did identify in our earlier systems that all students are not same, they are unique, and every student requires a different methodology or ways of learning. Their abilities are different, their potential are different, but generally what happens, and at the same time it is very important to have a very strong good relationship that has to be built between student and teacher. And we generally find that a classroom like a large country like India, where the teacher student ratio is 1 to 40, it becomes next to impossible for the teacher to get connected with the students of all the abilities. And most of the time it so happen, I would just call it a teacher student fit that has to take place, that has to be blended. That generally happens if a student with whom a teacher, the teacher and the students, both of their abilities, as well as, I should say, interests and all that matches. Until and unless that does not match, that blend does not happen. So as to the other students who could not match with that blend would definitely suffer. But this blended learning and remote teaching methodologies would help the entire classroom. Every student has got his own capabilities. So he will get an opportunity to choose a teacher, or can get connected to anybody around the world universe with whose his potentials, his capabilities and abilities, his or hers can match. So that is a wonderful platform this technology has given and connected us, and we are experiencing it during this pandemic. It is definitely a blessing in disguise. Next one, Shilpi. Now, if we could see what are the process of remote teaching. Next one, I'd like to go into this slide. What exactly is happening now is, you have got the children are exposed to the whole world of work, and to the education, to the knowledge just at the fingertip product. Whereas the books or the curriculum that is designed long back, now it's glad we are happy to see that NEP has come out with some very good set systems of education, especially the fusion one, where the children can fuse with the different subjects of their interest. But how is it going to happen? It's we have to wait and see how smoothly it could happen. But definitely what is happening is, what you see in the books, what the children are reading in their books are completely different to what they are looking into the web world. you know Instant information that they're getting on Google, Wikipedia, social medias, and the streaming news, ever expanding communication platforms. There are so many world issues. Of course, there are things like political instability, economic crisis, borderless wars, and now the pandemic. These all what they are experiencing. Maybe they cannot connect it with their books. This connection is becoming very weak. So most of the things are becoming imaginary for them when they look into the book and when they see the world around them. Next slide, please. So this is where remote and blended teaching comes into consideration. I'm also a cohort international career and college counseling organization, and I'm thankful to IC3 for getting me involved with wonderful platform I have got during this, because all of us, all were principals at this time, were connected everywhere through technology, and I could get an opportunity to get connected with the most of the educationists around the world. And I'm thankful to Vicky, who is an associate director for the international admissions in the University of Ohio, USA. She has her research. I would just like to discuss about her research and why I feel that technology has now, the entire world has become a global village. So I think a child who is getting some education in a developed country like US is possible to happen even in a country like India. Even from Indian students are no more less. And when she has done a research, I would like to share it and show you how this is even applicable in a country like India, and the whole globe can have one curriculum and one understanding which could bring peace and development throughout in the entire globe if this technology is adopted. Next one. So there are, of course, there are certain challenges. So we are going to talk about Gen Z. So who are these Gen Z actually? So who I am, if you talk about international educators for 20 years plus, they were Gen X. That is from 1965 to 1979. Like my generation, I would come into Gen X. And Generation Y is somebody after 80s to 94. And 95 onwards to till date is the Generation Z. So it so happens like I am from Generation X, whereas my daughters are from Generation Z. So this gap, what exactly are the differences and the gaps that we are observing? The challenges are to bridge this gap, and at the same time, what is that Gen Z is having that our generation had to learn from them? So, what are the best practices that Gen Z is applying, and how can Gen X bridge the gap and see that this Gen Z makes their careers strong in the world, and how can we make use of these human resource, well properly use it. Next, Shilpi. Next slide, Shilpi. Can I have the next slide, please? Okay, if you just see Gen Z is a group that is always have got information on the fingertip. They are raised by social media. They are digitized with the old modes of media, TV, radio, or newspaper, and then to the streaming devices. They are multitasking across with the numerous devices, which Gen X. If it was very difficult for Generation X. That is what I was just telling Shilpi today. I don't know how to operate this. When we were trying just 5 minutes before, I was trying to see how I can use this PPT. I can share it from my side, but there were some technical issues. Then Shilpi has to handle it. So this is how I think that this is a gap. Whereas when it comes to Gen Z, it is very. It's handy for them. They will not find it that difficult as we are facing these problems. Next. Can have a next slide. So now human communities that are we are now dependent upon the diversity of abilities. It is not that those days you need to have one specialized field will not work now. This is an era of I would say fusion, where a person needs to have multiple abilities. One who is going to survive in future are the one who have got the multiple abilities. And unfortunately our education system is built on fast food system. I call it fast food system because we are only concentrating on how best a child can rote learn and score marks, get ranks and marks, and that is the only ultimate goal. But we are not looking into how is this generation going to survive in future, and we are not aware of the careers that are going to exist in future. Next, please. So if you look at technology as a connection, this Gen Z is the one which are they are very handy savvy with using tablets, smartphones, and nearly their entire life they are spending hours together. These teens in texting, posting, streaming, surfing, linking, liking, tweeting, blogging. So this is what has become the social connections with the people. Of course, we may face the challenges that this Gen Z may have, the social and emotional development, but this can be bridged, because I feel that technology has given, except emotional development, where the educationist has to look into how can we bridge it and what activities can be done so that this bridge can also be, we can solve out and come out with some new innovative ways of bridging this gap. Next. If you look at technology as connected, communication has become, definitely communication is the key, and it is going to, this is never ending. So any profession, it was not like, earlier there was an Holland theory where careers were getting connected with the various, interest and aptitudes were connected to make the potential. And it was like linguistic ability was one which was supposed to be connected with certain careers, like, teachers, lawyers, or people like, in the industry, film industry, or somebody who required their dramatization. In that context only, linguistic aptitude was connected. But now, communication by various means, it has become a necessity, and this ability has to be there in every individual. Has become one of the major need of the times. And multiple platforms for multiple audiences are required, and conversations are no longer need to be synchronous. Often asynchronous posts can spam over for hours together, days together, and this connects, and communication has, technology has given a vast wide areas of getting connected to the people. So nowadays asynchronous mode of communication has become very common, and you can get connected to everyone. Communication has no more barrier now. Next, please. If you look at this, I do enjoy these memes, very witty memes this Gen Z has come out with. On an average, these teens, they're spending 9 hours per day using technology for entertainment. And maybe we don't know in future how these witty memes are going to be one of the best source of communication. Next. One of the, impact of technology, the very young, this Gen Z generations, the achievements that would like to, if it has been happened in, if you look at Harry Bird, a 17-year-old entrepreneur and a co-founder of Generation Z, is marketing and consulting firm for the future labs. So this boy at such a young age, at the age of 17, could make this achievement. But if this has happened in US, and we have found such achievements even in a country like India, even the students in India is no more or less when it comes to using technology. Next slide, please. And we had recent this team. If you look, this Indian team who has built the world's lightest satellite, Rifat from Tamil Nadu, has come up. A very young teenager who has come out with this innovative idea with the help of technology. Next, please. And even we cannot forget this Greta the Great, who has used technology as a tool for change. She has brought a worldwide movement of change in the environment with using technology. And she says that I want to make a difference. Don't get me wrong. It would be great to get to travel, make a lot of money, and become published, but none of that means anything if you don't make a difference. So Greta could make a difference using technology, which would not have been possible for X and Y generations. So Generation Z could do it. Next. And these are also the youngsters from Tamil Nadu, these two young CEOs who are the owners of a multi-crore worth rupees company at a very young age. And here one thing which that's common about geniuses around the globe is at early stage of life they could discover themselves. What is very important, every person has an ability. The early they identify the ability, the early there are chances of choosing, selecting, and identifying their passion, potential, and go with that. So this remote and blended teaching and learning process is allowing a child to have a self discovery, because within a classroom of as I was talking a typical 40s to 1 classroom, a child gets lost comparing with the others, getting influenced by the teacher, or there are so many influences around. But in a remote teaching, when it is happening with the child, and maybe the knowledge is acquiring through from YouTube, and there are 360-degree augmented technology that has come up, which could make them understand the concepts very clearly. And here, self-directed, intrinsic learning, as well self-discovery becomes easier for them. Next, please. And this Gen Z has made we educationists think over the new cognitive capacities that has come up, and these new cognitive capacities are have to be embraced without a second thought, and these are going to be very crucial for the coming years in education. The one I feel is the critical thinking, systems thinking, entrepreneurship, and cultural agility. If you see critical thinking in data management, big data, data analysis, and context, analyze and apply its concepts and productively is the need of the hour. And then system thinking's also recognition of the interconnections between disciplines is the key for the leadership. And for example, if you look at COVID-19 crisis of the management in public health, economics, and marketing, we have analyzed how important was that. And entrepreneurship, the 65% of the children that are entering into the primary school do not know what type of job they are going to get in future. So there is a need to emphasize more and more on entrepreneurship, and let them embrace failures and live from it. This is the major mindset shift that's going to happen. Failures are becoming the stepping stones for success, which we have seen for years together, but changing the mindset was not that easy. But this pandemic has shown us how best this can be done. And this cultural agility is again problem solving skills across the border. Now we have seen that how everybody around the globe is collaborating to find out the vaccine for COVID-19. This is a very good example of this problem solving skills as well as the collaboration. Until and unless there are the collaborative skills that are not developed, it is going to be very tough in future if our children are not trained or educated in these skills. Next, please. And if you look at new literacies, technological literacy, and our earlier literacy path, it was like, literacy was supposed to the path that was from slavery to freedom. Communicate the network with the whole of the human knowledge. It encompasses written, mathematical, scientific, all this together. But whereas this technological literacy, it is basic mathematics, coding, and basic engineering principles, and data literacy has come up into this technological literacy, which is becoming very, common now. And human literacy, most of the critical, more than three most complex fields are becoming more interdisciplinary, and human literacy has to be collaborative, and teams are becoming more and more larger and more diverse, where they have to collaborate. They have to have teams with the diverse human beings, human literacy, and people around this globe. Yes. Next, please. Shilpa, can I have the next slide, please? Yeah. This is very much has been observed that human beings, unlike robots, they acquire their deepest programming through their senses. As they explore the fullness of their surroundings and their lives, unlike machines, our greatest teachers, the experience. As we all know that the common sense is not very common. Of course, there would be certain fields that cannot replace human beings. So these common senses and these experiences will always be in great demand. This cannot be ignored at any cost. So this will be continuing, but at the same time, robotic. Like recently, I was just having a conversation with the colleagues who are counseling around, and there were a student who has completed, who was a very good dentist, and after completing the course and practicing for the 5 years, he stopped it. He doesn't want to do. The reason behind this is that I am sick of looking into the entering into the mouths of the people, and that foul smells. I cannot bear it anymore. So he has accidentally become a dentist, and this pandemic has also shown us these are so many things, like we don't know how is these diseases get communicated from one person to other person. So such risky jobs maybe in future would be taken care by artificial intelligence. AI would take place, or robots are going to repair mend or place the tooth. Maybe this may not, dentistry may not be one of the career that may exist in future. But there would be certain places where human intervention with all the senses will be required, and whereas presently also when it is required, we don't find that very commonly. Next. So the communication nowadays, in the schools with the students, we are now more and more dependent on emails, chips, Facebook, websites, blogs, and this has become very popular, and it has been quickly adopted. And one good part of it is eco-friendly, because we are able to save trees by saving papers. So this is the only mode of communication which present generation and future, maybe we don't know what all are the other advances in future, but this remains the only mode, whereas pen and paper is going to vanish. Next. Of course, the challenges we may have to face are the quality and the standards in the remote teaching is very important. How is it going to work, and how finally these standards can be maintained? Yeah, next. Next, please. If you look at the solutions to this problem of the remote teaching and learning, I'm a cohort IC3 counseling, as well as joint secretary to Telangana Science Fair Academy, where I feel the schools in future are going to get converted into laboratories, because there won't be any more teachings inside the classrooms that's going to take place, because children are getting this just on their fingertips. All this all this knowledge is available, but what is required is hands-on experience. And how are they going to experience this? So schools had to provide a platform where children can experience. There the future is going to be with the big data, collaboration, research, and collectively immediate information that has to be that would help in making the decisions. So these applied, practical, self-directed learning systems has to be adopted. Social learning, soft skills development, this has to be a continuous process. So research, collaboration, and has to be, as well as the soft skills, communication skills, it will remain, has to be continuously continued. Next, please. Can I have the next slide, Shilpi? And knowledge shared their way, that providing learning outcomes, and let the student determine how to meet them. They can use technology better than us. Encourage them to document the learnings through YouTube, podcasts, blogs, and even the video games. And I'm happy to share, one of my students is doing an activity, a research on video games. According to her, she finds that video games help them in developing their problem solving skills, critical thinking. So these all are these aspects, but again, she is doing a comparative study between a violent video game and well organized video game that could help them in developing critical thinking and problem solving skills in future. So these games could be a boom for the students in future. Yeah, next, please. So the education has to be developed that way. And how to develop remote and blended programs uh, is already there are so many programs that are existing that can be taken, and it's possible to adapt them easily. Next. And what is very much important is bridging this generational gap of X, Y, and Z generation. So we have to, what is the, how is the life outside this? Gen Z has made a bubble around. Okay, there are certain challenges which we have to face, like checking and composing emails, avoiding information that overload with effective search methods, and setting appropriate expectations. And expectations could be 24 by 7 access, and very impatient. This Gen Z, is very impatient. It's not that very easy to handle them. Next. Which, and the challenges which blended and remote teaching learning could face is, next slide, please. Reaching them out earlier. Also, the span, this is the attention span, is reducing day by day. Now we are finding that this Gen Z has got a very, very short attention span. It is not more than 8 seconds. If we are not going to hook them up immediately with a very good content and when planned lesson, you are going to miss them for it. They'll not care, and they'll not run with it. The message has to be genuine, because they have got the world around them to recheck, reform. So this planning, lesson planning, the content, knowledge with the teachers has to be very high, very competitive. Otherwise, we will not be able to hook this Gen Z. Yeah, next. So the key takeaways, I would say, is we need to embrace this. I've taken from the TEDx. We need to embrace these young change agents, even when they challenge the systems. Many of us have worked so hard and build, maintain, because maybe Generation Z can do it better. Yeah, next, please. So, thus, remote learning occurs outside the physical classroom. Instructors are separated from the learners in time and distance, and remote teaching is typically facilitated through technology, such as video conferencing, software, discussions, boards of learning management system. And this type of teaching may be synchronous, where students with instructors deliver these lectures live, or asynchronous, where students watch lectures recording at the latter point of time. So this is going to help. We in India, we find a lot of dropouts from this school. And dropouts, the reason behind the dropouts have varied in a poor country like nation like India, where parents believe and trust that a child has to earn because there is no other way. So these children labors who could earn, as well as earning and learning can simultaneously take place if this remote and blended education is facilitated to these students. Next slide, please. So courses that blends online face-to-face delivery, there could be a substantial proportion, 30 to 79% of the contents can be delivered online, and typically using online discussions and face-to-face meetings are some of the ways by which this can be created. Next slide, please. And as I told you, earning and learning, and how we can make this is a very good platform which could allow students to earn, learn, as well as facilitate them to become a lifelong learners, not having the phobia. As many majority of them, we have got statistics which shows it is not we are not getting passionate teachers because of money, because when we see that the salaries are so huge for the teachers in the government organizations, whereas they are very low paid in the private organizations, but results that we are ultimately getting are the everywhere it is zero, where we are not able to achieve our goals, aims and objectives of our national framework. So thus this shows that it has nothing to do with getting a passionate teacher, has nothing to do with money. So this platform can definitely provide this opportunity to the learners. Strong learner-centric climate can be created outside the classroom climate, and this would definitely help them becoming a lifelong learners. Uh, Thank you so much, Shilpi, Getty, Dr. Sunita, for the opportunity given, and all the audiences who all are present here, my friends and colleagues, everybody. I could not have done it without you all. Thank you so much. Thank you, Shilpi. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am, for such, you gave so much within such a short span of time, and in such an interesting way. And yes, when you talked about Greta Thunberg, the only thing I remembered was "How dare you." So
Yes.
yes. So yes, blended teaching and learning. I think this was much needed. And as it is, the divine intervenes when he sees that people are not progressing, people are stuck somewhere. So I think sometimes nature takes its own turn to change things. And
Okay.
as it is, I also believe that I read somewhere peace makes people lazy and war is needed to get people into action. And
True.
that is, I think, what happened in traditional teaching and learning. We had become stagnant. We was just doing what mundane things. So this actually not only awakened the teachers to rise from their normal BA trainings and catch upon something new, learn some new skills, and also for the students, because till now students were making they themselves were feeling responsible. I have to go to school, I have to show the homework, but now they have to be taking the responsibility themselves, that even if I'm at home I have to study. There's nobody to check me, nobody to question me, right. So thank you so much, ma'am, for being a part of this platform. And yes, where skills are concerned, Getty has already started with the teachers training online, and we have international trainers on board. Mr. Tom Markham, who's taking care of the project based learning, and Mr. Martin Richards, who is looking forward to developing the personal and professional skills of the teachers. And the course name is Listening from the Heart. So stay tuned in for more informative sessions coming in the future. Thank you so much, Fatima.